Hey, what's up YouTube? Have you ever wanted to make your own jerky? Maybe you're a jerky lover, but the stuff at the supermarket is just way too expensive. Or maybe you're worried about the chemicals and preservatives in the store-bought stuff, and you're wondering if there's an alternative. Today, we're going to explore ways to gain back control of what ingredients go into your jerky and save you some money at the same time. There are lots of ways to make jerky. Alton Brown over at Good Eats and many others show us how to slice up cuts of beef and dehydrate them for your own homemade jerky. However, today we're going to focus on making jerky from ground beef, which is generally cheaper, easier to season, and more tender than straight cuts of meat. My search on the internet came up with many brands selling what appeared to be the same product, so I'm going to focus on two of the most common ones, both sold by Nesco. The one on the top is the Nesco Jumbo Jerky Kit, but you'll see similar products sold by brands like Presto and Open Country. The one on the bottom is the Nesco 15-inch Premium Jerky Gun. This one is sold by brands like Excalibur, The Judge, Killshot, LEM, and others. Let's take a look at them in some detail. The Jumbo Jerky Kit is a lightweight device. It's made mostly of plastic. It holds about a pound of meat and is very simple and easy to operate. It comes with 3 different nozzles, a single strip, a double strip, and a pepperoni style nozzle. The kit also includes 3 packs of jerky cure and 3 packs of seasoning. However, there's no indication of the ingredients, so I'm opting to make my own. Here you can see the double strip nozzle that I'm using for this demo. And here are what the other 2 nozzles look like. This device works much like a caulking gun. The plunger pushes the meat through the nozzle as you squeeze the trigger. I like that there's a clear barrel so you can see how much meat there is left. To reset the gun, simply push the release button on the top and pull back the plunger. Even though it's made of plastic, the mechanism feels pretty strong and will probably last a long time. One thing I noticed right off the bat was there was a lot of space between the plunger and the barrel. This allows meat to squeeze through, leaving a messy cleanup afterwards. I'll show you this later in the demo. Next we have the Nesco 15-inch Premium Jerky Gun and Seasoning Kit. This is the big brother version and is probably meant for hunters or jerky enthusiasts looking to make lots of jerky. This is definitely a heavy-duty device and mostly made of metal. The kit comes with 5 packs of cure and 5 packs of seasoning. Again, there are no ingredients listed on the packages, so I'll leave them aside for now. This kit comes with a funnel to load the meat in, and it also comes with a tamper to push the meat down the barrel, which is a lot longer than the other model. Unfortunately, the premium model only comes with 2 nozzles, a single strip nozzle and a pepperoni style one. On the plus side, the nozzles are made of stainless steel, not plastic. Similar to the previous model, the nozzles are held onto the barrel using a plastic retainer ring. However, this ring is substantially thicker and tougher than the other ones, and probably would tolerate a lot more pressure and will likely last quite a bit longer. The trigger and handle are made of powder-coated metal and are very solid and smooth to operate. The release button is conveniently located where your thumb is, allowing you to pull back the plunger without changing your grip. All other parts appear to be powder coated or made with stainless steel, except for this one, and I found that it started to rust after my first use. My advice, keep it dry and it won't be a problem. Another thing I found was that the machining process left some metal burrs on the front and back ends of the barrel. You definitely don't want these getting into your food. I would recommend going over them with some steel wool to clean off any metal pieces, just to be safe. I did like how the plunger made a very tight seal with the barrel. You're going to get a lot less wasted meat with this model. Now that we're done looking at guns, let's make some jerky. Today I'll be using organic ground beef that I picked up from Costco. People recommend using leaner beef because it's the oils in the beef that cause jerky to go rancid. However, in our house, we eat all the jerky in about a week, so really there's no worry about that. Okay, so let's talk about seasoning. Today I'm going to be using some soy sauce, some liquid smoke, some Worcester sauce, and a little bit of honey for sweetness. And for the dry ingredients, I'm going to be using salt, paprika, a little bit of cumin, and some granulated garlic. You can experiment with whatever flavors you like. Okay, so let's get started. I'm using 2 packs of ground beef, which will be just enough to fill my dehydrator. If you don't have a dehydrator, not a problem. Just use your oven at 160 to 170 degrees Fahrenheit and you should be just fine. And what we're going to do is add our dry and wet ingredients to the beef and mix thoroughly. Paprika and soy are used mostly for color. The Worcester sauce adds a bit of sour tang. The garlic, cumin, and liquid smoke add this amazing aroma, and the honey is added to taste. I like my jerky a little bit sweet. I should also mention that you can add chili flakes for some heat if you're into that. I'll leave my measurements down in the description below, and don't be afraid to experiment. Oh, and also, don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. This is going to ensure that the seasonings work their way into every piece of jerky. Okay, we're going to try the Jumbo Jerky Gun first. With the nozzle removed, we need to first pull back the plunger and start loading the meat. I like to roll it into little balls first so that they fit easily and the barrel stays clean. Once it's loaded up, just attach the nozzle using the retainer ring. You want to make sure that those nozzles are nice and straight. Now we're ready to start pressing the jerky out onto the rack. This batch is going to be done in the oven so that we can compare the difference between oven jerky and dehydrator jerky later. I really like how this jumbo gun is lightweight. You can almost do this with one hand if you wanted to. The double nozzle also cuts your time in half. You can see, however, that the gap between the plunger and the barrel is already starting to allow some of the meat to squeeze through. It's not great, but I guess it's not terrible either. Here's that mess I was talking about. One little problem with the double nozzle is that occasionally a piece of meat will get caught in the separation and it results in some uneven strips. However, once it dries, you probably won't notice. As with any jerky gun, there's some leftover meat in the nozzle after you're done. Simply remove the nozzle, dig the meat out, and hand press your last pieces. The process with the 15-inch Premium Jerky Gun is pretty much the same. Just roll the meat into little balls and load them into the barrel. This gun holds about 1.5 pounds of meat compared to the 1 pound on the red model. I found that I didn't need to use the funnel at all, but because of the longer barrel, I had to use the tamper to push the meat down. Finally, we attach the nozzle and we're ready to start pressing. This time I'll show you what the process looks like with a dehydrator. It's a bit harder with the 15-inch model because you need to pause and turn the racks, and this model is a bit too heavy to use with just one hand. If you can get an extra helping hand, that really speeds up the process. The 15-inch model definitely has the capability of applying greater pressure, and the meat comes out pretty quickly from that nozzle. And because it's a single nozzle, there are no clogs or stuck pieces of meat. Note that loading up the dehydrator in this way causes the jerky to be curved, which might not look as nice or pack as easily, but at the end of the day, it tastes the same, and really that's all that counts. And once you're done, simply remove the nozzle, dig out the leftover meat, and hand form the last few pieces. And because there's such a tight seal between the plunger and the barrel, there's absolutely no meat left in that barrel. You're good to go. For the dehydrator, I set mine to the max at 160 degrees and stack the trays. A batch like this should take about 4 hours to dry. This isn't the best dehydrator on the market, so I find that I need to rotate the racks about every hour or so. In the case of the oven, mine only goes down to 170 degrees, but that's fine for what we're doing today. The higher temperature combined with the fact that the oven is a convection oven, our jerky will dry in about 2 to 2.5 hours. In both cases, if you see pools of oil forming, you may want to dab them off with a paper towel. Personally, I don't bother. So the oven-dried jerky came out a bit quicker than the dehydrator. The meat is tender and chewy and it smells awesome. I can't wait to eat it. About the same time, I took a peek at the dehydrator. And as you can see, the meat is still not fully dry. It's pretty fibery and could use about another hour or so. Okay, now that the dehydrator is done, it's time to store your newly made jerky. Make sure you let it cool completely before storage. This will prevent condensation and resulting mold buildup inside the storage container. I tear the jerky into 6-inch long strips and then put them into a wide-mouth mason jar. Then the jar goes into the fridge where it can keep for about a week, if your family doesn't get to it first. If you need to store it longer than that, throw it in the freezer. And there we have it. We have homemade jerky ready for your family. I like to have it in a jar, and if you're using it for gifts, you can simply just throw it in a jar with some parchment paper. The straight ones seem to work better for this, and they make fantastic gifts for birthdays and Christmas. So to sum it all up, homemade jerky is super easy to make, and it allows you to decide what ingredients you use while saving you money in the long run. Both jerky guns performed well at their jobs, but I would say that the Jumbo Gun is perfect for someone like me who wants a small, lightweight, and easy to use device. On the other hand, the heavy-duty Premium Gun is better for serious jerky lovers who need toughness and durability. You need to decide what works best for you. Thank you so much for watching. I've added links to all the products in the description box below. Please give this video a thumbs up and let me know what videos you'd like to see next. Don't forget to subscribe. Hope this was helpful to you, and as always, be kind and curious.